All right. We are going to do a short set of notes today, picking up where we left off last week. So we're going to call these notes number 1.5. They're not a full set of notes, not notes two, but we've got just a little bit of the story left to cover. So if you recall last week, we talked about Muhammad, where he was born, and we talked that he became very disturbed by the excess and the greed that was around him, and he went to a cave to pray. And while he was in this cave, Islam teaches that he was visited by an angel who gave him messages from God, and he took those messages and writes them down, and they are going to form the basis of the Muslim faith of Islam. So what happens after Muhammad leaves the cave? Well, he brings these revelations back to the people of Mecca. And of course, after having experienced what he did, is expecting people to be excited to hear what he has to say. And that isn't really the case at first. He is going to gain a few followers. His wife and his cousin are known as the second and third Muslims ever, because they accepted his teachings. And some people in Mecca did, but not very many. Most people initially rejected what Muhammad was teaching, and they did that for a few reasons. First of all, one of Muhammad's key points was that, or messages, I suppose, was that he came to tell people that they had to stop worshiping all these other idols. He taught monotheism, that they should only be worshiping one God, and that God is Allah. And that most people in Mecca did not want to stop worshiping those idols. They wanted to stay polytheists, which means a religion that believes in many gods. But Muhammad's teachings also could hurt the economy of Mecca, because people traveled on pilgrimages from all over the area to come to the Kaaba, where these idols were, to worship them, and that brought a lot of money into the city. So the economy of Mecca was dependent on these travelers and tourists coming on their pilgrimages. So it was not in their best interest to get rid of the idols, because that would cut off a major source of income for the city. Muhammad is also teaching one of his most important points that he comes back with, is that people should not be greedy, and they should really be caring for the poor and not seeking out money. And this really is going to offend the wealthy merchants and aristocrats that he is speaking to. So slowly Muhammad gains some followers, still not very many. But his influence starts to grow, and it becomes a threat to the leaders of Mecca. And they begin persecuting Muhammad and his followers with violence. But he continues, and his influence grows more, to the point that the leaders of Mecca begin to plot to kill Muhammad. And because of this, Muhammad is forced to escape Mecca. He is forced to flee Mecca, and he is going to go on a journey to Medina. Mecca is considered the holiest site in all of Islam, or the holiest city, excuse me. Medina is the second holiest city in Islam, and it's because of Muhammad's escape. So Muhammad leaves Mecca in 622, and he goes to Medina, which means the prophet's city. And this is called the Hijra. And it is a very significant point in Islamic history. It actually marks the beginning of the Islamic calendar, which we're going to talk about later. So Muhammad goes to Medina to seek shelter, to escape persecution, and he brings some of his early followers with him. And this migration of Muslims from Mecca to Medina is going to be beneficial. It is going to begin the spread of Islam, because people in Medina accept Muhammad and they accept his teachings. A lot of this is because Medina was not as wealthy as the people of Mecca were. They were in a much drier, more rural area that did not have very much fertile soil for farming, and so they were poor. And Muhammad is teaching that we should care for the poor, and that people should not be greedy and they should not have a lot of money. And so this really resonates with the people of Medina. And so Islam starts to take hold there. And so as it begins to grow, Muhammad establishes a community of Muslims that is called the Ummah. And it is going to be a community not just of Muslims, but of the Jews and Christians in the area, who are going to find a way to live peacefully together for a time in this community. And as more people begin to convert to Islam, these Arab tribes in the area that have kind of constantly been warring with one another for land are going to unite, and it is going to bring peace to the area. So according to Islamic teachings, while Muhammad is in Medina, he has more revelations from God, and these are going to be significant teachings or significant pillars. Pillars is not the right word because they are not pillars of Islam. They're going to be significant teachings in the Muslim faith. Things like the way that Muslims should operate their government, their society, and how they should worship. For example, while in Medina, Islam teaches that God told Muhammad that Muslims should face Mecca when they pray. And this is a practice that Muslims continue today. When they pray, which remember is the pillar of Islam that they do 5 times a day, they always face toward Mecca, toward the Kaaba, which is remember currently where these false idols are, but we'll get to that in a minute. And so Muhammad is really beginning to attract more followers, and he becomes a really important leader in the community. He is an important political leader because he is able to join the Jews and Arabs who have not been getting along in Medina into one single community, that Ummah. He is a religious leader because he is drawing more converts to Islam. And that has run off the slide, guys. And he is going to be a military leader because he has brought peace in these warring areas, and he's about to use this influence to go back and take back Mecca. So in 630, Muhammad and these 10,000 followers, Muslims that he has converted while in Medina, decide to go to war with Mecca and to take back the Kaaba. And so they return and they see the size of Muhammad's army, and they surrender very quickly. Once the Meccan leaders surrender, Muhammad's army destroys all the idols in the Kaaba, and the Meccans accept Muhammad as their spiritual leader, and they become Muslims. The Kaaba is preserved. The idols are removed, but it is preserved and it is rededicated to Allah, and it is now considered one of the holiest sites in all of Islam. And this is actually the place that Muslims visit when they make their pilgrimage to Mecca. It is to this site that is the last pillar of Islam, the Hajj. So 2 years later, Muhammad dies at the age of 62. After his death, all of the revelations that he received from the cave initially, and then from his time in Medina, are going to be written down in Arabic and collected into the Quran. And that is the holy text of Islam. That is the similar to, it is not the Muslim Bible, but it is the equivalent of the Bible in Christianity. And after Muhammad dies, his teachings Islam is going to begin to spread like wildfire. This is the Dome of the Rock. It is a beautiful mosque. It is the oldest remaining Islamic monument, and it is a very holy site, both to the Jews and Muslims, for a number of reasons. And this is actually a big source of conflict between Jews and Muslims today, is over who has the right to this site, who has claim to this site. Muslims believe that this is the place that Muhammad was taken to heaven, that he ascended to heaven to be with God at the end of his life. And so for that reason, it is holy to Muslims. We'll look later in the week about why the Jews and Christians believe that they are entitled to claim it as their own, and why that is causing conflict.